So Ovechkin posted that Team Putin thing, and I think he was made available to the media. I don't remember. Malkin posted a Team Putin thing.
I'm counting your sentences.
Oh, shit. I'm going to go a little over 2. Malkin did his Team Putin thing, and a few people got indignant that, he wouldn't answer questions on it. What do you expect them to do?
Yep, I was wrong. Like, what are they going to say?
On second thought, you're right. Fuck Putin. Also, I'm going to call every person I've ever known in Russia and make sure they're okay. Yeah, definitely, I'm going to criticize that guy whose detractors magically appeared dead.
Yep.
Not just in Russia. They appear dead all over the world.
Yeah, look up Sergei Majinsky, I think it was.
Oh, look up a bunch of people. But you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to attack him on Instagram. And then he'll know. So I'm not totally letting them off the hook. It's totally possible that Ovechkin supports him. It's totally possible Malkin supports him. However, if they don't, we're likely to never know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because they're doing the right thing for their lives.
You're taking our democracy, our freedom of speech, our culture, and putting it on them. And you have to remember, they're from the other side of the world that has quite literally never had it. Like my grandfather was fluent in Russian and used to go over and help.
He's from Russia, wasn't
he? His father was.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So, and technically Lithuania, but it was part of the Tsarist Russia at that time.
Gotcha.
So he used to go over to Russia and help make power plants. My grandfather was a chemical engineer and was a master several times. It was genius.
Not the power plants you think of, like actual plants.
Plants.
Had a lot of strength.
Protein
and
power plants.
Yeah. They lifted weights.
It was big for Vega.
Instead of leaves, they grew biceps.
Yeah. Like Piccolo was a plant?
Piccolo was a plant, by the way.
That's the kind of plants he built in Russia.
So
from the planet
he would
Namek.
go build power plants, and he said.
So your grandfather was from Namek. I gotcha. Okay.
And this was when communist Russia was in the 80s, becoming more open, a little bit like what China is now. Although I think China is doing a better job. And the way he described it to me was this. He said they don't understand in the same way that we understand what it is that they have and what it is that we have. They don't understand. Most of them have never left the country. Most of them have never grown up any other way, and they've been told that capitalism and democracy and all these things are evil. So they've always had it this way, so they're kind of used to living in it. And he said it doesn't mean that there aren't dissenters, but he said you have to understand perspective.
Yeah.
And it is very different there than it is here. And you can't just take your perspective, because I was being, a snotty teenager and going, well, this and this and this and this. He said, no, you can't do that. You have to look at it going, okay, what's their history here? They had a democratic revolution. How did that end up? Well, the communists took over. Right? And he said, so then it was went from totalitarian to totalitarian, czarist to communist.
It's not just things like that. And maybe we can leave it with this. So, I was very close friends with Andrei Osachenko when we were doing the KHL stuff. We still talk. And there was one conversation that really stuck with me. So I was explaining to him my sister, who, as some of you know, has cerebral palsy and autism and a bunch of other things. And I think he even met her. And he was I don't know, I was explaining these things and he didn't really say much. Andre was rarely at a loss for words. He was just kind of pensive. He was just thinking. And then I can't remember if we were talking or he messaged me like the next day. He goes, I don't know, I'm fascinated by your sister because like we just don't have people like her in Russia. For a sec, I was like, what? Like, of course you do. Of course you do. No, and then I realized like, oh, they're either institutionalized or don't survive. Like that is the difference. So it's sorry to get so dark, everybody. I preferred talking about Dragon Ball Z too. But it's not always just like, a difference of views on how money is handled or a difference of views politically or on freedom or democracy.
It's different
or
on
whatever.
everything. Literally everything.
So many things. It's like
we can't begin to relate to that experience, I don't think.
We explore outer space, and I think we should, and I'm fascinated by all of that, but we don't understand half of what's under the frigging sun. Here, on our own
under
planet.
the atmosphere.
Yeah, I kind of think about it how, like, when somebody gets mad at you or somebody, like, snaps, Sometimes it has nothing to do with that interaction. It has everything to do with how they like spent their morning. Like maybe they just got into a big fight with somebody before you, and they come to you, and then they snap. It's the underlying issue. This person doesn't understand what's happening in North America because they grew up in Russia, where everything's completely different.
I'd love everybody to be like,
Russia.
but I'd like everybody to be like Alexander McGillney in the early '90s, saying "Screw Russia, screw communism, screw it all." Like, he was, and Fetisov comes over here and he's giving half of the money he makes to the Russian government. McGillney's like, "No, F you, I'm keeping it all, and screw you, and I'm never leaving, and I love it here." We like that. We thrive on that bravado, like, screw the man. However, you got to think that there might be some
There's consequences.
There is consequences to
And
that.
I'll have a moment of self-awareness. Like, I got indignant about the whole Poppy thing before, and we had some Irish listeners reach out like, you have to understand why we are not down with that.
Yeah. And that made sense. It was like, okay, now I understand.
Well, and then I tried to look at it from their perspective, and I was like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Fair enough.
I get it.
Yeah, anyway, we're not letting them off the hook. It's just kind of like, are you surprised?
Yeah.
Stop being surprised.
No, if they genuinely support him, then they genuinely support him. They should be criticized for it. If they don't, we'll probably never know.